I'm not going to say a single word about the Tennessee Titans record against the Indianapolis Colts because I was a punter, and there's no reason for me to talk about that. With that being said, we did not punt much against the Tennessee Titans, so you probably have no clue who I am to begin.
Look, I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, call it audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the game over with the showstopper. So hot, you gotta blow on it. I said I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll pass to my left while I'm looking to my right. Hit them right in the chest. It be looking like magic. Better give me the throne. I ain't talking about Patrick, but I rep my home. I'm never at the end of my zone. I'm bad to the bone. Eating up these pig skins like they chicharrones. And you a douche cabron. Mira, mira at the mirror on the wall. I'm the greatest of them all. They gon' put me in the hall. Your name is only written in a bathroom stall. Quit your stalling and make a play. My drive too long. Pop the clutch, I don't pump the brakes. I know what it takes to gain the muscle, get rugged. These butterfingers be fumbling. Squash the scrimmage and rub it in Robitussin. How I give them concussion. They seeing double, they rushing and pass the shovel. The dirt and rubble, I bury them under it. Stay in your huddle and get 10 yards back. Never turn your back. I'ma pull your flag. I go full contact. Out punch, out kick like a shotgun.
Yeah. We're back. Make sure you're liking, commenting, sharing, all that great stuff. Cause we have a very, very, I'm not even gonna say stressful, because guess what? Today was stressful for a lot of the Colts fan base, but you know what? It's not gonna be nothing like that, okay? So in the meantime, make sure that you're liking, commenting, and sharing so we can see you. Shout out where you're from. But yeah, so without further ado, let's just get right into it, man. Welcome to the HorseShoe Mob podcast, where we're coming to you with everything Colts and, slandering some teams in between. Shout out to Will Levis for the Hellman's Mayonnaise sponsorship deal. That's a very Tennessee Titans thing to do. But you know what? Go ahead and get your bag or your jar, however you do it, whatever. But in the meantime, let's just go ahead and get to it with the guys. We have with us the silent assassin, the man with many names and one beard. We have with us Austin Cook, everybody.
Hey, what's up? I'm Austin.
All right, and then we also have with us the man who's internationally known, except for when he has to go get another passport unexpectedly. We have Harish Nukala, everybody.
Tight end gun bunch. I am here for it.
You know what? Don't do that. All right, and then we have with us the man whose lighting right now is actually pretty immaculate. The Mr. Official Josh Sr. All right, and I'm just Chris Jackson. I'm just a lowly Chris Jackson over here, so we ain't even going to talk about that. But yeah, before we go any further, please make sure that you're going on to www.fanbattlesports.com, where you can actually see past episodes. You'll also be able to see articles written by myself, Josh, I guess Austin. I think Austin got some heat coming soon too. I think Austin has some heat coming soon. I know he does. I see that. I see the look in his eyes. That's the look of hot fire. Okay, let's just go ahead and just get that out the way. All right, and then Harish gonna drop some fire on us. But actually, you can go ahead and see. I believe you just wrote an article for the Texas Longhorns fan battle, right?
Yeah, I did not post it though. I'm going to start posting articles for the Texas Longhorns week 1 of the season. So next week.
Hey man, listen. At the end of the day, you gotta say it with your chest, okay? That's all I'm saying. Like you got this. I believe in you, Harish. You gotta say. I'm writing it week 1.
We are Roy Williams days away from Texas football.
Hey, that's what I like to hear. It's like, but yeah, we actually got some comments coming in already. So yeah, and then we have Sarah on YouTube. She said, "Yo, Chris and Josh, my bros, how are you? All good. Colts wild day." Yes, Sarah, you are correct. It was a really, really wild day. So yeah, but we're gonna talk about all that. And then she also says, St. Charles, Missouri, going to the Saints game. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, not the Saints game, but I'll be at a game or two this year. We're still coordinating right now. So yeah. And then we said, shout out to JT sitting home.
Shootout.
Oh, shootout. Yeah. Shootout to JT sit home. Yeah, listen, he's home. And I mean, whether he likes it or not, he's gonna be there for a little while. So yeah.
I
But
wonder what shootout to sit to JT, man. I wonder what that means.
I don't know. But in the words of Danny DeVito, I don't know what happened, but I came out blasting. So So yeah, we'll just go with that for right now. But yeah, man, it's it's been a wild last few days. Starting with joint practices last week with the Eagles. Numerous guys getting into it, showing some moxie, showing some of that attitude that we all want to see. That what's been missing over the last God knows how many years, but that led to the game this past week. So before we go any further, I do want to make sure that we just go ahead and just give a little premise before we get into like the details of it. So I'm gonna say, Josh, with that game that we saw from Colts and the Eagles, just give us like quick overview, because I know it's just like we got to see a couple different units play. We got to see the O-line second unit play. We got to see AR play for an extended amount of time. I mean, I think they said beforehand it was going to be a quarter and a half, and I think he ended up playing the whole first half. So so I'm going to say it's just like just give us brief synopsis of what we saw on last Thursday.
I mean, I was impressed. I mean, AR QB1, he led 3 scoring drives, which is promising. Of course, you always want to have your guys in your offensive line and your top back, but he still did good. He still good. I mean, yeah, he did some overthrows, like a rookie would do. He had some passes where the receivers dropped it. He had some passes where they caught it. Had too much heat on it, but it was still promising. They did a lot of no-huddle offense too, so it was good to see the offense, and the defense played well too. They got that one turnover from that I forgot who the receiver was, but he was fighting for extra yards, which led to him to fumble the ball, and we recovered it.
Yeah.
So that was promising as well, because last year we didn't have many turnovers without Shaq Leonard being in the lineup. So it's promising. I didn't put too much stock in it. I know it was the last game, but I think that some of the starters played one half, and then the second half, I mean, you saw what Mitchell did. You saw what Sam did. They both played well to earn a spot on the 53.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, with what we saw, I know that there was expectations going into the game. Like, I know that we said that, you're going against the Eagles. I think they said that they were going to be putting some of their guys out there. You weren't going to see all like the first team, but you might see like, different people here and there. But, what I want to know, and I'll start off with you, Austin. What did we expect? And this doesn't have to just be in regards to Richardson. This could be in regards to anybody. What did we see versus what we actually got in that game?
I just wanted to watch the game to see if the offensive line would get any better. That's how I'm going to be about every game this year, is hoping the offensive line continues to get better. To see AR grow, obviously, you want to see if he's going to play a full half. You want to see how good he does.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going into it expecting. See how our young cornerbacks played, or DBs. And what we saw, like Josh said, AR played well. He led 3 scoring drives. Wasn't perfect, but definitely saw improvements throughout training camp all the way to his last preseason game. I feel like the offensive line kept him protected for the most part. They're not perfect, but I feel like they're not as bad as they could be.
Yeah.
And, our defense, it still needs work. We're young on defense, so we're going to see some growing pains. But all in all, I think it was a solid last preseason game.
Okay. And Harish, I got the same question for you. What do we expect going into this game? Or you could just speak to what you expected versus what you actually saw.
I was impressed with AR. Now, the concern I have with AR is still there. I think he puts a little too much velocity on balls, especially on short balls. I'd like to see a little bit more touch. And the pass by Josh Downs, that's the one that sticks out the most. I feel like he led the receiver actually really well. Like he put it in the open pocket, and I think that's his velocity that did that. I'd like to see a little bit more touch on that. I'm not impressed by this wide receiver group at all. I don't know. I was expecting them to do well. Josh Downs, I'm not really too down on because he's a rookie. He's going to have his mistakes. It leads me to believe that I don't know. I'm just surprised that we only kept 4 wide receivers.
But I think we talked about this kind of, pre-production. It seems like, at least for right now, that the lack of, I'm going to say, seeking out O-line is going to be supported possibly by having more tight ends in the sets. I mean, it feels kind of like what we had, not necessarily from an O-line perspective, but I'm going to say from the perspective that if you remember the year that we had Phillip Rivers, because of the fact that Phillip Rivers was somebody who either operated very well when it came to having taller receivers or having somebody like a Nyheim Hines, or even going back, having like a Darren Sproles out of the backfield, that kind of made up for things, because that means that your short game was pretty good. You had a decent mid game, but you weren't taking too many deep shots. So at least right now, it looks like that's kind of the way that that's going, because everybody that you're dealing with right now, like having as many tight ends as you have and only having 4 wide receivers, really makes it seem as though you're going to be running a lot of schemes that are going to be like that short to mid range, at least until you go ahead and you see, okay, well, you know what, we can really take those deep shots consistently. Like I said, I don't expect them to take a lot of deep shots at all, only because of the fact that I think if you just throw Richardson out there to just take deep shots from the very beginning, you're doing him an extreme disservice. Like I have no doubt in my mind that he has the arm to be able to just go deep every single play. But once again, it's just like, if you're just constantly having him throw deep, having those issues, just absolutely not. That it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. So, but we're gonna go to some comments, because these comments are interesting. These comments are interesting, but we're gonna get to a few. Sarah says, "I'm happy Daryl Baker Jr. made it. Love him, and Mallory too. We need more receivers in O-line. Hopefully, a lot waivers tomorrow." Can I just say something? I feel like this time of year is kind of like Ballard's Black Friday. Like, I really just feel like he's just like, oh man, there's a good free agent out there who could possibly do something. Nah, But then he waits until cut down days. He's just like, ooh, I like that guy. He has good character and questionable blocking skills. I want to get him. Like, it's like, that's what it seems like he's doing. Like, it's just like he goes full bargain bin Ballard around this time, where I'm not saying that you possibly couldn't have like diamonds in the rough, but I just feel like it's just like, when you're saying, oh yeah, we can claim a lot of people off waivers, because there's maybe, I can count on one hand how many people I would like to get off of waivers right now. But I mean, guys like Dalton Risner, who've been sitting out there for God knows how long, is better than anybody you could possibly put at right guard right now. And I'm going to say, you also have now somebody like Deion Jones, who's established, who's also played in the Gus Bradley type defense, that you could easily grab up. And I'm going to say, will not only give you depth, but could possibly go ahead and start. So, I mean, yeah, but if it comes down to it, I don't like when we say, oh yeah, well, we're going to get guys off waivers. We're going to get guys off of waivers, because the whole thought process has been, oh yeah, we're going to get guys off of waivers. We need depth. No, we need people to step the hell in right now.
Yeah.
Like, the right guard position right now is questionable at best. And mind you, there was no improvements made on that.
I think the entire offensive line is questionable, right? Even outside of Quentin Nelson, Braden Smith, right?
Yeah.
I've never heard of Carter O'Donnell, right? I've never heard of Arlington Hambright. I don't know. It's like every year, offensive line, we get down to it. you know your starting five is okay, right? But it's all dependent on Ryan Kelly staying healthy.
Yeah.
So Quentin Nelson not having to, overcompensate for what's going on the left tackle position, and then missing out on his assignments. And then that right guard position is still not solidified, and it's been 3 years. We haven't had a solid right guard on this team since Glowinski left.
And then Penna got hurt. Yeah, Penna got hurt for the year. Is Fry starting?
Well, so the thing is, Fries is somebody, and I don't care what anybody tells me. Fries is not a starter.
No, he's not. He's
Fries is not a starter. And Fries is and that's the thing. Like, Fries isn't a starter, and Ikior waived. So the thing is, now once again, the right guard position is really, really, really just still questionable, and it's letting that kind of stuff go. That just continues to kind of like play in the back of my mind, because for me personally, I like some of what Ballard's done when it's come to the draft. But the thing is, it's just like he's whiffed outside of the draft more than I believe that he's hit in the draft, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to team building, right? And he says he's changed his philosophy on team building. Obviously, he's changed his philosophy, right? We're going gun bunch tight end this year. So he's definitely changed his philosophy in tight end or on the roster. But it's like what are we doing? Like this team, and I thought they could surge the second half of the season. I'm even more convinced now than I was before that 6 wins is the max for this team, and it might be worse, honestly.
Why do we panic though? Harish always panics every time a movie's made. He go off on Twitter. Why do we panic without the finished product being put out? We don't know.
It's not about panic.
I know, but
it's about
we got the Jaguars coming up, and we're not going to season with no four receivers. Just like the Patriots not going at one quarterback. We just overreact. What we see now, we just overreact without waiting till everything is done, and then overreact.
It's just seeing the same stuff over and over and over play out. Here's the thing, right? What are you expecting Ballard to change between now and next week? That's going to, besides just getting more numbers, right? Yeah, we're going to add more wide receivers. We're adding more wide receivers just to add a number, right? Oh, we're going to add more wide receivers because we need 6 instead of 4, right? But when we're talking about a team and we're talking about, the deficiencies of the team, you have a rookie quarterback. Your owner pissed off your running back who also has no mind of his own because he's being influenced by his agent, right? So there goes that. Anthony Richardson's already going to take 2 to 3 years to develop, right? We're not doing him any favors, just like we did Andrew Luck no favors for so long. Obviously, 2 different situations, right? Andrew Luck was a generational talent, but it doesn't matter if we have 4 receivers or 6 receivers. We already got to win in 6 games anyway. No, but that's not the point. It's about what the end result is what we think is going to happen, right? But when we talk about building a team, you're trying to set your team up for success, right? It's like I always go back to this analogy. It's like being a manager of a team at work. You are always trying to do everything you can as the manager of the team to set your team up for success, right? And I just don't think this GM is doing that.
Well, I mean, but that's fair, because we can talk all day about what he's done and what he's contributed, but the thing is, at the end of the day, it's led to very little. You had opportunities to just go ahead and just be like, look, like, I get it. Frank Reich was there. You two, it's just like, you may not have fully agreed on it, but the thing is, you still pulled the trigger.
Right.
And if for some reason you had questions regarding Carson Wentz after the abysmal year that he had, it's your job to then go ahead and step up and say, listen, we need to do this, because not only are we taking on a financial risk, but you're taking on the risk of him looking exactly how he did this past year, when you're talking about an MVP season that happened like 3-4 years ago. So the thing is, you're like, when we're talking about like everything in terms of the back and forth, in terms of like the stuff behind the scenes, it's like yeah, we could say that, oh yeah, well, it starts now, but it's just like, no, Ballard's audition started from when he first came in here. And the thing is, he came in when you still had Luck coming off of an injury. You're putting offensive lineman pieces around him, which at that time, I mean, you get Braden Smith and Quentin Nelson in the same thing. You're already better than you were with Gosler Sherilis in there. So, I mean, as far as the O-line goes, like, you already have better pieces just starting out. And that's the reason why I think we're overlooking, like, we're able to say that, you know what, we're sick of Ballard now because of the fact that we still have Quentin Nelson, Braden Smith, Darius Leonard. I'm not calling him Shaq, I'm sorry. But, we still have, some of these guys that he had in that first draft when he just knocked it out the fucking park. And it just so happens that now it's as bad as it is because of the fact that you've neglected this position for so long. You've potentially whiffed on people that you could have done different things about. And now more so, I'm going to say, you let your pride and your ego tell you didn't need to fix anything because the people that you went out and got were good enough. Julian Davenport wasn't good enough. Matt Pryor was never good enough to start. And that showed with how many times Matt Ryan got killed in the pocket last season.
Yeah.
And
constantly just saying, we like what we have here. Here's the thing. Once, all right, maybe it's, you're a new GM, you're trying to figure it out. Twice, just coincidence, right?
Yeah.
We're now 3 years in a row. We're now seeing a trend and what this roster building looks like. This is now a trend. The third straight year where the most important piece of this team to be successful has been neglected. And you know what? Ballard's going to have that before the season press conference. And he's going to say, well, we really like what we got at wide receiver. We're very, very young at wide receiver. Receiver is really hard to play in the NFL. And he's going to say that. And we're just switching out the name of the position every year now.
Well, yeah. And I mean, the thing is, I think there was also a stat about like the whole entire team now is at or under 30 years old. Like, that sounds fantastic. But the thing is, it's just like, we're talking about a youth movement. And when you say it like that, we're talking about a youth movement that you're potentially saying is going to now look like a lot younger. But it also sounds like, hey, give us a few years before we can go out there and get competitive again. And it's basically just sounding like you're setting us up to say we might just be bad this season. Like, no. Like, what? Like, it's kind of trash when you consider that you traded first to get DeForest Buckner. I mean, it's just like you traded first to get Carson Wentz or second, which was a conditional second to go and get Carson Wentz. That amounted to nothing. And then here we are once again, where you just drafted Anthony Richardson. And now with the team that you put around him, like, this is a team that I'd say I would trust, even with JT being away, I would trust a little bit more if you had a veteran quarterback there, because then they'd be able to look around and say, you know what, I can kind of work with this a little bit. Yeah. But that's not the case, because now it's like you and it's not like they don't have cap space to deal with. I think right now it's just like they're probably at about $19 million in cap space. I'm sure Dalton Risner, even if he signs a 1-year deal, there's only $8 million.
Yeah.
I guess say we don't go get him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we do. I don't know. Didn't they work him out? No, they didn't. Did they?
No, they didn't.
I haven't heard if he's been worked out or not.
I don't know. There's been no news of Dalton Risner doing anything. Only thing that he's been doing is liking every single comment or tweet that anybody has tagged him in or mentioned him in, because of the fact that he's sitting there saying, "Hey, I'm out here, I'm available, and I'm better than Will Fries."
Yeah, and I like to eat French fries.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic when you're looking to eat. But I mean, French fries could probably block better than the both of them in a game against actual D tackles and right ends or left ends or ends. Period. It's frustrating because the product that's being put out there isn't matching the words that we're getting in terms of like what you're saying. Like, there's no reason why when you go 11-5 and you say, "Yo, you know what? We're still rebuilding." How are you rebuilding at 11-5?
Rebuilding, yeah. You've been down building this entire time. They've regressed. Regardless of Phillip Rivers, right? they have regressed as a team since that season.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt.
You've wasted the youth, the core of the core of your team that you built this team around. Wasted. Ryan Kelly, Quentin Nelson, Shaq Darius Leonard, DeForest Buckner, like Kenny Moore, who's still hanging on his Pro Bowl election in the huddle that he got. Like the core of your team isn't getting any younger anymore. So, like it's just wasting the core of the team, and I can't stand for it.
It is. But we have a couple people in here with some useless stats. So they said AR's on target should be a massive concern. His second game, he threw about 35% on target. 2 scoring drives were short fields. We just gassing up AR or what? Then we have Michael Newsom, 35% complete. You're saying the exact same thing the guy above you said. Cutting Darius Rush to due to inexperience was a mistake.
That's interesting. Yeah, I would agree. If that's the reason, what if your corners do have? Reason. Yeah, I don't. If that is,
we should address the other comment that the Florida State Homer fans should. We should draft one of the Florida State quarterbacks next year. So
yeah, we should totally do that because that guy's just absolutely murdering him. He's just killing him.
Because Lord knows Jameis Winston is still just setting the world on fire.
Yeah, we definitely got to get a Florida State quarterback next year,
which
man.
Is what AR is worth at. What makes sense? What sense does that make? And then we have, oh, Jesus Christ. Thank you, Shane, for whatever the hell this is. We know that your football knowledge doesn't go outside of the city of Nashville. So
it's barely in Nashville.
Yeah, it's like whatever.
And he can't sing. And he can't sing.
But you know what here? So there's 2 things that I want to address, right? There's 2 things that I want to address because if I feel like there's a certain way that people address certain things like based on exactly how you feel. And so like everything is going according to what there is with an internal bias because of the fact that, like I said, I think people have a narrative. It's the same thing, the same way that people have a narrative now about Jonathan Taylor because of how this whole situation happened, right? It's just like everybody just kind of feels a way about Jonathan Taylor. He's some people are saying he's a terrible person. Some people are saying he's being selfish, saying and like I said, you're entitled to feel how you feel. But at the same time, it becomes a tad bit ridiculous when it becomes contradictory. And then you're also going the route of saying, hey, this is what I think because this is how I feel. And then this is also how I feel because I feel strongly about this. And to me, it's like, I don't like the whole like narratives regarding AR. We've had, I'm going to say, a very limited opportunity to see exactly what it is that he can do as of yet. Because if I'm being honest, I feel like what we've seen thus far is him getting in-game experience. I really don't feel as though the offense is going to look anything like what we've seen against the Eagles or what we've seen against the Bills. And that's only because of the fact that you don't have the type of schemes or the type of things that we've seen so far. You don't have those type of schemes when you're trying to put him in those positions. And I don't think that you will go ahead and play your hand like that. Like, do you really believe that this is what they're going to do in regards to the offense when they spent pretty much the whole entire offseason damn near keeping everything pretty much hush-hush when it comes to the work that he's been doing, him working with Steichen and everything else? Like, I do feel like that this is a move where it's just like we're not going to see anything close to what we saw in the Eagles game on last Thursday. But that's where I am as far as that goes, because it just doesn't make sense to me personally.
Yeah, how you judge a guy based off of basically two quarters of play makes no sense to me. But Jordan Travis is the greatest quarterback to ever step foot on a college football field. So we'll just go with that.
Richardson also said they were kind of keeping it vanilla.
As they should.
Games. Yeah,
I think you could tell that he was trying to work on his footwork. Like he was trying to stay in the pocket. Those are things that I noticed. Like he's forcing himself to do that just so he could practice doing that, looking off his reads. I don't think the completion percentage is something that the coaches are worried about right now because I think mechanically they're trying to get his stuff correct, right?
Which is what you should do in the preseason.
Exactly. I've noticed a lot of that. So again, I don't know what Anthony Richardson's going to be. He has super high potential. And yeah, he couldn't hit basic throws. How about we figure out what Billy Napier did for Anthony Richardson to help him out last year in the 12 games he played? Because Billy Napier is just Nick Saban of football,
Yeah. And and like I said, we had some more comments, so I'm just gonna make sure we go ahead and So he said, since the trade to the Dolphins didn't work out, should Irsay trade JT for an actual Dolphin to go with his whale?
Yes.
Sure. Why not?
But why not?
Like I said, he can afford a tank. He's a 100 millionaire, I guess, or even a billionaire. I don't know. I don't count his money, but yeah. So we have an entire year in college last year, and we've seen his same problems in preseason as what we've seen in college: bad mechanics, bad decision making, bad catchable ball rate, bad on target. Okay, so then here. How about this? How about we? I'm willing to make a bet with you. So do you want to bet that we can come back in about 3 years and we know that Jordan Travis is probably not going to look the best because Florida State quarterbacks don't work out?
I don't think Jordan Travis is going to be a good NFL quarterback.
Well, I mean, I'm just asking.
I don't want to bet because I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Jordan Travis fan over here. Still neglects to admit that Billy Napier is a horrible coach. He's in over his head. He's gonna probably get fired after this year. But this isn't the Florida State Gator show, so we won't talk about that.
Oh, it's the Florida State Seminoles. It's the lesser,
I know what it is, but
the lesser Florida team,
right? The Florida State Seminoles, yeah. Anyway,
UCF better than Florida State. So, so with that being said, now just moving on, because like I said, they announced the 53-man rosters today, and of course, mixed bag of reactions. I'm gonna say, you know what? Let's just go ahead. Let me just hear the one person you were glad that stayed and the one that just made you say like, what the F? And I'll start with you, Austin, on this one.
That just people that made the team.
No, yeah, for the people who made the 53-man roster, one that you were just like that you wanted them to keep, that they did keep, and then another one that they did that they didn't keep, that you're like, why the hell would you do that?
So I'm glad they kept Will Mallory. I think he looked good whenever he got healthy. So I think he could be a good tight end in the future. Somebody that I don't think should have made the team.
Do it, Austin. You know you want to.
I'm trying to think if I can think of anybody. I'm not sure if I have anybody in my mind.
That was a vanilla answer. We'll ask you.
It's preseason.
Yeah, I know. I know you're trying to keep it vanilla.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. What about you, Josh?
Of course, I mean, Will Mallory. I'm glad he made the team because folks thought that he wouldn't make it, along with Ogletree. So he did make it. You said that Tony Brown, he shouldn't have made it. If you're gonna, he should. I would have given that to Rush than him. But I guess Tony Brown is one of our special team ace, so I do understand that.
Yeah, special teams always makes, because if you can do special teams, right? We know this. We had a great special teamers that Ballard didn't think we should have kept. So I think special team is definitely a high point of importance.
Yeah, I think we saw. I'm gonna say I'm a I want to say it's just like Mallory. Mallory wasn't as surprising. I mean, well, and I don't use PFF to gauge anything, but I mean, I'm gonna say he was what, the second highest rated rookie or the highest rated rookie during the preseason in terms of what he was able to do at 90.2. So yeah, we pretty much saw that coming. But Darius Rush was definitely the surprise, and I think somebody else alluded to it where they basically were talking about the fact that they said that it was because of his inexperience, but I mean, you drafted him in the 5th round. It's not like he was an undrafted free agent. So whatever the unexperience was, it wasn't something that was a negative coming into it. And definitely I like, if inexperience was the reason why, then that's a cop out. Like, I don't want to hear that, because you went out there and you had him play. Like, you know exactly what you were getting yourself into, and then you're going to say inexperienced. No, that's lazy.
Yeah.
That's lazy as hell. I don't believe that. Like, you tell that lie to somebody else. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, so that was freaking stupid. But you know what? Talking about freaking stupid. So this guy was given the opportunity to go, and I'm sorry, Harish. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I needed my chance. I was waiting for this moment.
I gave you, the thing is, it's just like you kind of jumped in on Josh, and so I was just like, oh, okay, well then he just went ahead. But you know what, Harish, go for it. I want you to go ahead and give us your unfettered analysis on that.
I'm glad we kept Ade. I think I really like him. I like
Ade.
I like his potential. I'm still trying to figure out why Mo Alley Cox is on this team. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's 6 years at this point. He does nothing good but drop footballs. Like, what are we doing? Like, why is Mo Alley Cox on this team? I imagine I don't imagine he gets traded. But I'm just not understanding Mo Alley Cox. I think you got Kylan Granson. You have Jelani's out, so maybe we don't know what's going on with Jelani. He could be out. I think he tore his hamstring, so he is out for the season.
Hamstring, yeah.
I mean, that's the best tight end in the room. And then I really like Andrew Ogletree.
Oh yeah. Ogletree.
I think there's a lot of potential there, but yeah, why Mo Alley Cox is still on this team, I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that also. It's just like, I think Cunningham also comes with the penalty. And with as much penny pinching as Ballard likes to do, that's probably the reason why he's holding out hope for this one.
Well, it shouldn't matter. This whole team is a penalty anyway. We can't even keep a drive going without a penalty, so it'll just match the ambiance of the team.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's I don't know. It matches the Ballard way, because it's just like Ballard. As you said, Harish, in the past, that he has this tendency to hold on to things way too long. And I mean, I think we saw that numerous times. We saw it with Zach Pascal. I think we saw it with, actually pretty much just saw it with Zach Pascal. And we see it with Mo Alley Cox. And especially on offense, where now it's just like you have a very young very young tight end room. And, if you're keeping Mo Alley Cox around for a veteran presence, I don't get that, because to me, it's just like a veteran presence means that you have somebody who's played and has been able to play at a pretty decent level. But Mo Alley Cox hasn't been that. Like, he's had a flash every now and then. But the thing is, it's just like, I don't think it was never consistent enough to really do it. Whereas you saw what Jelani Woods did last year, and you're just like, hey, we can build off of that. But then again, this was also the same team that saw him actually have a game where he did really well. And then next game, I think they cut his snaps down by 2/3.
Yep.
So the logic isn't logicking, but that's just me. So now we're officially moving over to Jonathan Taylor with his agent, Dollar Tree DJ Drama, and basically just talking about the fact that he had the opportunity to seek out a trade, look for a trade partner, All they had to do was just find somebody who'd be willing to give the Colts the compensation that they were looking for him, and then also make sure that they're providing him with the contract that he's looking for. And in the last week that he's had the opportunity to do so, they didn't find a suitor. They were linked to 6 teams, and none of those 6 teams did anything other than waste our time. So
other than low ballers.
Low ball, yeah, low ball. So you know what, guys? React. Just go ahead. Just go.
I gotta go first.
Go off. Yeah, just go off.
First. See, that's the problem. Everybody had this theory or this problem like, hey, once he gets traded, he's already gone. But the team has already said, hey, I want a first or equal to a first. But according to reports, nobody offered a first or a second. So they lowballed the organization on their trade because they thought that the organization was bluffing. That's what they tried to do, especially the Dolphins tried to bluff the team in trading, and they wouldn't budging out that the offer that they wanted. Likewise, they said that a team would be happy to sign him to the contract they wanted. Well, where their team at?
Mm-hmm.
Where's their team? The Dolphins kept signing everybody except getting JT.
Yeah,
they just signed Cedric Wilson to a deal. I think worth restructured. I'm sorry.
Yeah, restructured. Yeah. But they just traded for a cornerback in a cornerback deal with the Cowboys.
Correct.
They freed up $7 million before 4:00 p.m. Eastern time today, and nothing. So you know what? Let's just be as even keel as possible. Is there any belief? That they were ever going to be able to trade him away under the stipulations that they had for getting a trade done? Is there any?
No.
I think they set that price on purpose. Look, Jim Irsay, as crazy as he is, he says we're not trading Jonathan Taylor today. We're not even trading him in October. Like that. Jim Irsay steps into certain situations. I can guarantee Jim Irsay said, unless you're getting a first, I don't care what the offer is.
Yeah.
And teams have the bluff.
Really and that's really what it comes down to. I don't think there was ever I think this was okay, fine, go see what you can get out there in the market.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
And then you know what? And I think the other big thing is the fact that the Colts don't have to trade him.
Right.
The thing is, like this throughout this whole situation, the one thing that keeps being overlooked is the fact that the Colts weren't in a position to have to trade him. It's not like they could go ahead and extend him right now and just say, hey, whatever. But, and mind you, this is all speculation, but whatever. The idea is the fact that before you can go and talk about getting a new deal, trying to say that you're going to be out there and that you're going to do this, you have to be able to show that you're 100% and that you're ready to go. Now, if this is the scenario that happened, he's not ready to go. He's easily not. He's easily not.
I still don't understand the whole physical thing. Like, has he passed the physical? Has he not passed the physical? I'm still not past that whole thing.
Well, it's an idea or theory that he's playing hurt, which I saw reports that could be holding in, so he wouldn't play, so he could get suspended. That's what I saw. I was reading. I think it was Chappell post that.
Yeah.
Fox 9, something like that.
Mike Chappell. Yeah.
That he could be holding in for the season because he's mad about the contract extension, so he could not play. But I think if he is doing that, which would be shitty, but if it will lead to suspension if he does do that stupid shit, and he won't get paid.
But the thing is, even worse than that, if he continues to play this game, that means that technically this last rookie year then becomes next year.
Right.
Yeah, do all
it just carries over.
So the problem is that I get it. Like the running back position has been diminished. It's being played terribly. I get it. I feel bad for you. But at the same time, you're being told bullshit on top of bullshit from a guy who only has been out there to go ahead and try to elevate his name by going ahead and making it seem like you're the person. Like everybody that was on that running back call literally has a new deal or is still under contract right this moment. So the thing is, you're literally the one outlier where you're about to sit here and pull a Le'Veon Bell and end up in 3 to 4 years having to go and do some type of bullshit celebrity boxing match. Like what? Like why? Like it's. I get it. Be like secure. Do what you got to do. You just got married. I get that. And like I said, I'm not talking in regards to their personal life, but the thing is, I get it. You wanting to secure that because there's a lot that goes along with that running back position. Sure. But the thing that's being overlooked is the fact that you knew exactly what it was that you were going into. You know that Ballard will pay guys early if they go out there and just perform. Why is there an issue now? Why is there an issue now when you know for a fact that all you have to do is just go out there and do what you need to do? That's it.
Well, the thing is, he had a chance. It's crazy because I support JT. We all support him. It's the fact that it's a difference between what he said in April and what he's saying in August. That's what's pissing me off. I'm not mad at him. I don't want him traded. I mean, I still care. I still care and want him to be the starting running back for our team. It's just that he had a change of heart from April's conference it was OTAs. OTAs where he said, "Hey, I'm not gonna let this be a distraction. I'm gonna pay my contract out and hope for a contract once my contract is up, my deal is up." And then sign a new agent, and I was like, "Hold on, wait a minute. I want what I want," which was allegedly $16 million a year. Which the team was like, "Well, hold on, wait a minute. You said you was okay. You was fine with getting paid next year, 2024, but now you're saying you want to get paid now," which they don't have to do it now because they said, "Okay, well, y'all was on some type of agreement. Hey, well, we wait till next year, and now you're saying you want it now, and you're trying to force them to do it right now." Yeah. That's what we always make fun of Jim Irv, say, "Oh, he's on pills or he's drunk," but the guy's smart enough to know that I said I'm going to pay you, but I want to do it next year. We agreed on this. Now you're making it public, and now when he says something on TV, Jim Irsay should shut up. Well,
no, because Jim Irsay is just putting out there what was talked about behind closed doors. Here's the thing about Jim Irsay: he's not going to shut up. You can tell him to shut up. No, call him out. Calling him out on Twitter isn't going to make him shut up. It's going to make him talk more, right? So I think somebody put up, imagine asking for a pay raise while coming off your worst season. Like, this is exactly the position he's in. He just came off his quote-unquote statistically worst season because he wasn't healthy. He had an ankle issue, had a back issue. Still don't know that he's coming off, is he healthy or is he not? Because we don't know if he passed the physical. And now he's giving off this diva vibes. He basically has turned the fan base against him because he's taking advice from an agent that's stupid. Like, his agent is selling him a bouquet of roses, and that's just not reality. It's like asking for roses at your wedding. That's not what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people have kind of soured on him. And for me personally, I haven't, but at the same time, it's like the drama is just like it's taken away from the fact that for the first time in a very long time, we have a team in place and they actually went and spent the capital to go and draft a quarterback. Now, ultimately, it's just like we get to watch kind of like the growth and kind of evolution in regards to that. But also, it's the fact that everything that could be talked about this team has now turned into the latest saga in the Jonathan Taylor drama. And quite frankly, it's just like it's tiring. Like I get it. It's just like they said there's drama every single offseason. But this, I believe, is probably like the first offseason where there's legit been like actual in-house BS drama to this extent. And it's tiring. Like, I get it. And quite frankly, I'm over the drama, I'm over the BS. If he resigns, he resigns. He can still technically be traded, but no matter where he's traded to, he can't play until week 5.
Yeah.
So that means that he's already screwed up game checks. And he's already messed up. Well, he didn't screw up game. He screwed up the full opportunity for game checks.
Yeah, now he's losing money, right? Again, I don't care what happens at the end of the day. I'd love JT to stay here. I have no problem with him. It's like when you say, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Right. And I'm just disappointed in the fact that he's allowed his agent, who's a nobody, to persuade him of something that's not true. And I think yesterday on the AFC South fan battle, somebody said, well, it's the same agent as Titus Howard, and the same thing happened. That's great. Titus Howard is not Jonathan Taylor. Like, that's fantastic.
Same thing with Leonard, too. Leonard, that's Leonard's agent as well.
They don't have the same mindset. They don't think the same. They don't act the same. Just because they're represented by the same person, clearly JT is easily persuaded differently than those other guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that wild stuff too. Asking $20 million a season, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, and I think like I said, I don't think it was ever confirmed that it was 20 million. I think the number was more along the lines of 16. But 16 is right where you have that Christian McCaffrey number. And honestly, it's just like we saw what Christian McCaffrey was to that team. And it's not to diminish what JT did, but the thing is, Christian McCaffrey had to be the best receiver and best running back on that team.
For the Panthers, yeah. He was the team.
Yeah. And I mean, it's it's kind of hard to believe, but yeah, no, absolutely not. So, and then there's this question, and then we're going to start to kind of just wrap things up here because, like I said, it's the last one. And then, of course, I believe next Thursday is the first regular season game of the season. So, actually, he said, is JT's urgency to get paid maybe because of the move to get the quarterback? If the team shifts to riding the quarterback, maybe his value is less next offseason. So
it's an interesting question. It's actually a really good question. I don't think I know.
So, and I don't know if anybody agrees, but so in a situation like this, Jonathan Taylor could very easily end up still being the focal point of the offense, even though you have a rookie quarterback. Because of the fact that now you have a quarterback that can be mobile, which means that now you're going to open up a lot of things. Can you run an option, or could you have run an option last year with Matt Ryan? No. Why? Because he's a turtle in cement. It's just not going to go well. But the thing is, now you have somebody that you can potentially run more options. You can run more of the plays that make it so that you have to keep multiple people in, basically stack the box. Now, as we saw with Jonathan Taylor the year that he had, the 1,800 rushing yards, had over 2,000 all-purpose yards, he ended up being able to go and do more of the option stuff, basically make it so that he can move around. Anthony Richardson is a threat to do all the same things and then some. So now, and this is my personal opinion, it makes more sense for you to go ahead and say, oh, yeah, this could actually make me look fantastic. Because if you have a genuine chemistry with Anthony Richardson, and this was also a thought process, if they look like they're actually doing really well through those first few games, let's just say you end up going 2-1 in the division. I think we haven't done well in division in years.
Yeah,
you end up going you end up going 2-1 through those first, let's just say, 5 or 6 games. There's no reason in hell why you don't see Jonathan Taylor and Richardson together and say, oh no, we got to keep these two together. There's no reason in hell for that. But the problem is that, you say that if the team shifts to just riding on Anthony Richardson coattails, they're not going to do that automatically. That's not going to happen for about another year or two because he needs to go ahead and have those years under his belt for him to kind of work through this offense. Also, we don't really know what this offense looks like, but we do know that this offense can look a lot better if you have your bell cow back in there, along with working with guys like Hull, who could potentially be what we wanted Nyheim Hines to be all along, but just didn't get the chance to see outside of just the 1 year with Phillip Rivers.
Well, if we're looking at what to look at and what we should be, comparing against, if you will, look at what Miles Sanders did for Jalen Hurts. Like that's really all you have to do. Miles Sanders went and got paid after this scheme, helped him, right?
Yeah.
I could see that for Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson, except we pay them both. That is not out of the question. Like, I think the scheme is there for these two to be really successful together. But I think the off the field stuff is just getting a little too wild at this point.
Yeah, it's dumb. It really is. But I mean, that's kind of where we are right now. So I mean, we kind of just have to grin and bear it. But you know what? I think quite frankly, I'm kind of sick and tired of doing this with the whole Jonathan Taylor thing. So if he signs back, cool. If we never talk about him again, I'll be completely okay. I mean, he's a Jersey guy like myself, so I'm always going to root for the people from Jersey. But quite frankly, I'm sick of it. Just a little bit, a lot, whatever you want to say. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get out of here because this has been a very stressful day. And I think that we've all just been on Twitter. I'm not calling it X because X sucks. We've been on Twitter all day, talking on social, doing all that other good stuff. And yeah, no, absolutely not. So with that being said, we are going to go and say, yep, and they have to pay AR a second time, but that's not for another 4 years down the line after this year. So they still got plenty of time. So with that being said, guys, where can the people find you on social media? Primarily on Twitter. Oh, wait, we have one late comment. I think we need JT, but we can live without him. But you can't say we're better without him. Right now, it's a rock and a hard place, but you can't say a top QB and running back combo and spread RPO offense can't be great because we have never seen anybody try it, to be honest. I mean, exactly. So, I mean, hopefully they decide to go ahead and just get their stuff together because right now it's a little dumb. And honestly, it's old. And, Jonathan Taylor's agent can't decide whether or not he wants to be an agent or a DJ. But either way, he needs to actually just start advising him in the way of, hey, how about you just go ahead and just get it done? And it said, are y'all going to be at opening day week 1? We will not. However, we are working on potentially being out there week 5, and then I'm not sure what we can play the Steelers, but out there for the Steelers. We're working on it, okay? Yeah. But either way, if we're not, then go check out our peoples at the Sig Podcast Anvil Show because we know that they're out there with the tailgate RV. So definitely make sure that you're going ahead and you're hollering at them because it's always a great time with those guys. But yeah, so with that being said, guys, tell the people where to find you on social media, starting with you, Josue.
You can find me on X.
What's so funny, bro?
You can find me on Twitter at official Josh Senior.
All right. How about you, Austin Bearded Cookie?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at CookieAustin2.
All right, you as well, Harish?
You can find me on Twitter at the Uncle Gandhi.
All right, and you can find me on Twitter at CJ Colts fan. And also make sure that you are, if you're not already, make sure you're following us on Twitter at HorseShoe_Mob. Like I said, a lot of things coming up. I feel like we're overdue for a contest. We might need to just go ahead and get a contest going.
What kind of contest? Let's go ahead and say it now.
Let's go ahead. Wait, we're not going to say it now. I just floated the idea. You can't put me on the spot like that.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Winner of the contest gets to be GM for a year.
Can we enter? Because I have a lot of ideas.
But yeah, we announced it. They got to follow us though on everything.
Yeah, you gotta be following us on everything. But yeah, definitely make sure that you're tuning in. And like I said, we will be back next week. And we will be doing our preview of the Colts' first regular season game versus the Jaguars. Win. Yeah. Hey, listen, I like the attitude, man. I like the attitude. Good job.
Listen.
Good job.
Gun bunch tight ends. I won't be able to make it next week unless y'all want me to join from Mexico. But gun bunch.
You know what? Hey, listen. You know what? With that being said, guys, have a good night. And Sam loves Jalen Ramsey. All right.